This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Every who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and no prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
Hi, I'm Kanika, and you're listening to That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast, where I interview public figures on their life lessons in parenting, legacy, and built-in sixth sense.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland, and you're checking out That's Total Mom Sense.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton, and my experience on That's Total Mom Sense was fantastic.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
Thank you to my guests, brand partners, community, and you for making this show possible. Episodes released every Thursday wherever you listen to podcasts. You can join my tribe by logging on to thatstotalmomsense.com and by following me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive in to today's episode. As the official podcast partner for the Mom 2.0 Summit, a collective of moms in media, marketing, and parenting baby and kids-related brands, I got a chance to do interviews on the ground with keynote speakers, attendees, and sponsors. The backdrop was the scenic JW Marriott Hotel in Scottsdale, Arizona, which was a dream. First, let's hear from the Mom 2.0 founders on their story and the inspiration for this year's event. Listen in. And now I'm with 2 members of the Mom 2.0 founding team, husband and wife duo, John and Carrie Pacini. Thank you so much for joining me on That's Total Mom Sense.
Thanks for having us.
It's been a joy to be the podcast partner of Mom 2 at this year's summit in Scottsdale. And I had to launch the series with the 2 of you, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your vision and what you've created over the past 15 years. So a huge thank you for making this community possible.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you. So let's start from the beginning. Laura Mays and your partner Carrie Pacini both of you have been on the show before, but let's go back to that and tell us a little bit about how Mom 2.0 came to be, that origin story.
Yep, sure. So 15 years ago, Laura and I met at a tech event, and I think that the one thing we always say is that we were pretty much like the only girls, the only women in the room. And so, of course, we gravitated towards each other. What are you into? What are you doing? And we were both, in a field where we were in tech, but we were also doing things for women. Laura was probably doing something for women, and I was doing something for moms at the time. We would just keep seeing each other at these meetups because it was something as a startup that we were both doing. So from there, that's where we met, continued to have conversations, and thought about the idea, of like floating over, like having a conference together, having a summit. And actually, that's where John comes into play too, I have to say, because he was there from the early goings on, Mom 2 Summit, even the origin of the name Mom 2 Summit. John, I'll let you kind of get into that too. But that's kind of the starter dough. Was Laura and I met at a tech conference. We were both doing something for women, for moms. This idea kind of evolved because there wasn't a place where women could come together and really meet and talk best practices about what they were doing in their careers.
Yes, 100%. There definitely wasn't. And so John, you helped come up with the name and kind of flesh out what the mission was going to be?
Yeah, so Carrie and I had been with a few other partners in another venture previous to this for several years in the online parenting space. And it was really about building community and resources for moms. This is pre-Facebook, pre-Twitter. And it was really an early Wild West in the space online. And so we ended up, and we were working through that. And my role in that was really working on the brand integration side of what we were doing and bringing sponsors in and brand partners and really helping educate the corporate marketing community on how moms were now taking their tendency to connect in person and share best practices and ideas and advice and support. And that was moving online, right? So we had worked with some really big brands, Sony and Amazon and Zappos and whatnot at that point. And Carrie and I went to a conference it was a marketing conference around parenting. And they had one session on social media. And we were like, okay, we have to go to this. So we go into this room and it's packed, standing room only. All the seats are filled shoulder to shoulder. There's people lining the room. And the person that gets up there and talks is a graduate student. And she, with the best of intentions, she's effectively going through her thesis, her master's thesis on the impact of social media on parents. And really, it was, there was no practical application of any of this. And after the session, I looked over and people were walking out. After the session, I looked over at Carrie and said, you or I, or, those of us in the business could have walked up there and just told stories and probably been of more value to the people who were here wanting to know what was happening in this space. So, so we came back to our hometown and connected with Laura and the conversation began. And so, that was really the excitement was, it was really the right combination of Carrie and Laura to put that together with their two backgrounds.
Wow, that's amazing. And can you share some of the highlights over the years for those who are new to the community?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's what was really cool about it was that first Mom 2.0 summit, we weren't sure if there was going to be a second Mom 2.0 summit. It was just, let's host a conversation in Houston, which we love Houston. It's our hometown, but it's not a destination necessarily for a lot of people. And so, but people came from all over, women came from all over the country, Canada, a few from overseas, and we sold out the event. And there was such an energy in the room. It was just so amazing. These, women walking around and saying, I've been looking for, more people, anybody else that was in my same position, which was, these women had built businesses and platforms that were at a commercial level, oftentimes just by telling the stories of their life and sharing the truth of what they were going through as a mom and as a business owner and as a partner and so forth.
100%. It's really commendable, the programming and the network and even the brands that you've cultivated over time, because it's grown leaps and bounds since. And in fact, you have a milestone you can share with us that happened just recently.
That's right. Yeah, we joined the Everyday Health Group, Pregnancy and Parenting group division, and which is, they own Baby Center and What to Expect and some other iconic brands. And so our Mom 2.0 brand is now part of that organization. And we're really excited with all the additional resources that brings for us to bring to the community and bring to our job in serving the community. Yeah, we're listening to the community when it comes to the partners that we bring to the table and bringing, we've always strived for greater diversity in every way that we have expanded the business.
Yes, it was great. And then even just, you're helping fill those gaps, like Bright Horizons was there, and they you can advocate to your employer for, childcare, subsidized childcare. And so they were there helping you through that. Coco Melon is always a favorite to see. So yeah, it was
we had Blippi. We had Blippi. I found out my kids are a little older, but I found out Blippi is selling out like arenas. So
Yeah.
we had a legit star in the room with Blippi and Mika. So yeah, that was really cool.
So awesome. And you know what? I feel like because you know the market so well and are so attuned to the needs, you had childcare on site.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Bright Horizons provided that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so brilliant. I mean, when do you see that at a 3-day conference?
That's
Not
right.
very often.
No, for sure. And it wasn't, we wanted to make it something where the parents that are attending understood that it was optional if they were in a position where they couldn't come without bringing their children, because as you know, it's a professional development event. And for a lot of the moms who attend and are want to be fully involved in the event, it's an opportunity for them to work on themselves. As Laura says, typically, remember when we open the event, that it's about, we're caring for the caregivers, right? Yeah. It's our opportunity to really welcome and care for these people who are caring for a family and a business and a home and all the things that they're managing on their day-to-day basis. So we really want it to be an oasis. And sometimes that means bringing the kids, and sometimes that means, having the kids stay with family or partner, spouse, or whatever. So,
this is family run, and I think there's something so beautiful and wholesome about that, because that's what the values of Mom2 are. But your kids, Adrian and Julia, were behind the scenes working the event. Adrian was the one calming me down backstage, saying it's gonna be fine. You're on in 2, okay. And so I was so impressed that these kids just were given that opportunity, and you as parents thought this is going to help them, and we want them to all hands on deck with what we've built.
Yeah, we made an intentional decision, because we're both in the same business. We made an intentional decision when the kids were I want to say middle school and late in elementary school age, around there, that we just didn't want to leave them behind for a week when we went away for our event. And because we were gone for the better part of a week, and it was in the spring, it was at a critical time. And so for us, we said, we want them to be able to be with us. And we also think it'll be beneficial for them to learn by watching the outcome, because back then we were primarily, an events company. So seeing the events that we're putting on, that they see us plan all year.
But thank you so much for all that you do. And where can all my followers get to know more about Mom2 and the community?
Oh, well, they can go to mom2.com. They can see us on Instagram. We're at Mom2 Summit, as well as Facebook and TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Kanika. Great to talk to you.
In this interview, we hear from OG mom influencer, author, speaker, and podcast host Jen Hatmaker, who garnered an audience of over 66 million. We talk about her keynote, which opened the summit, motherhood, her books, and her latest, a cookbook called Feed These People. Jen, welcome to That's Total Mom Sense.
Thank you.
Live at Mom 2.0.
Yeah.
What has the energy been like? You just came off your keynote, and we're on stage, and it's like, this is the mom spring break. What would you say?
Oh my gosh, it so is. Like, I did not even understand what I was walking into until I got here, and I was like, can I live here?
Yes.
Like, I want to be in this place. The energy here is amazing. I was saying earlier, I love to be in a room full of women like this. Smart, interesting, innovative, scrappy.
Yes.
And kind of all over the place, too. There's not just one type of woman here. There's not one type of woman. There's not one type of business, one type of entrepreneur, but the like collective energy is buzzy.
Yes.
It's buzzy in a way that I love.
It really is. And I feel like we feed off that energy.
Yeah.
And when you're on stage and you're speaking to an audience of women who are wide-eyed and hanging on to everything you're saying, I feel like it's like fuel in itself.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like, there is no duplication for that. One of the greatest losses among many for me during the pandemic was just the loss of a live room.
Right.
And of course, we gathered as best we could online and the way that we could do it safely, but there is nothing like being in a room with human women, with their bodies and their laughter and their tears and their energy is just, you can't replicate it. And it's so special. I'll never get over that I get to do this.
Yes. Oh, and we love you for it.
Thank you.
Give us some highlights from your keynote.
So we were kind of kicking off the day. Knowing all these women are heading into a lot of business development. They've got all these incredible experts and tech moguls, and they are going to learn while they are here what to do to grow their businesses, which I love. I was here to take care of their hearts. So that's my deal. My business is women. And so my thought was, your work is really only as good as you're doing. How are you doing? So we went through what it is like to suffer, what we are going through. We shared a lot of things out loud in the room, just saying it, speaking it over the room, and other women kind of joining in unison, like, me too, same. Like, it was just really, really powerful. And talking about how to recover well and how to be the strongest, healthiest versions of ourselves so that everything else can flourish.
Yes. And what was an example you can touch on where, you know, many people raised their hands and they were like, I'm going through that. What do we do to navigate this?
Well, you know, I threw this out in the room. You never know how this is going to go. It's a big room. It's a lot of people. And it's intimidating.
Right. Oh,
and so I said, would anybody be willing to say out loud in this room loudly something that you are going through, something that is causing you suffering? And I told the rest of the crew, I'm like, anybody else, if you've either been through that thing or you are currently going through it, y'all just shout back at them, same. And so it created this powerful moment, and people are saying, I have a kid on suicide watch, sames all around the room. I am struggling with my own mental health and I'm like depressed, sames all around the room. I've had a miscarriage, same all around the room. I'm losing my parent right now. It's just, none of our suffering has to be lonely. It's hard because it's hard, but we don't have to do it alone. And so that moment in the room where people were so tender and vulnerable with their pain, but then to be met with such compassion and like unanimity, it's just, that's just a moment I won't forget.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting choked up. Yeah. Because I feel like when you meet a stranger, you don't know their story. And we have our name tag our company names.
We're shiny.
No one knows. Yeah, exactly.
Our hair's blown out.
Yeah, exactly. We have the extensions in and the lip gloss.
That's right.
But behind that is so many layers that you don't get to cut through right away.
Absolutely.
And then when you do that, and the fact that you brought out the depth at the onset, this is going to deepen the connections that are made here.
100%. We're all just women, and everyone has pain, and it's not because any of us are doing it wrong. It's just because that's life.
Yes.
And so being able to say, I know everybody here is very polished looking, which can make you feel a little lonely in your own private suffering, but let's just cut right through it, guys, because all of us, we packed up our suitcases and came here, but we also packed up our hurt and came here. Let's just lay it on the table.
Yes.
So it's just this leveled playing field right out of the gate. We're all just women. We've all gone through something, or we are going through something. We're all the same in it. And it's like just a shared compassion that really sets the stage, I think, for the rest of the time here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And something that you'll remember for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
That feeling
yeah, I saw some of the women, they would say something really hard, and I watched somebody else stand up and point, like, I'm going to find you after. I'm in that. I'm in that too. Like, or I just got through that. They were finding each other in the room. And so... how wonderful, how beautiful. That's what women do. That's why I love women.
Yeah, same. Same. It's a different, we're a different, you know, like superpower and superhumans all together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be able to collaborate and connect and cultivate something so special is just icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about your books. We mentioned offline, so you have written 14 books.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And you've birthed 5 children.
Well, technically.
I don't know which is
I
harder.
birthed 3 and I adopted 2.
Okay.
But they're all in there.
They're all,
Look,
yes,
at this
yes.
point, I don't know who's adopted and who's not. I'm like, just get in the car. You know what I mean? So.
And bring your friend.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
I love it. But you're this like matriarchal figure. And then you're also someone who gets it and you're like, I'm going to write out my own accounts and help you through it. And the fact that you've done it 14 times over, holy crap.
Yeah, it seems so bizarre to hear you say it. And it was this was a long time coming. It's a long career. It's and my early stuff is just it's catastrophe. Like, I forbid you to ever read one word of it. Like, may it be stricken from the record. I was learning. I was a young writer, and just finding my own voice and finding my own path. And so I've just written as I've grown up, honestly, and I've lived my life pretty outward facing. This is what I'm learning. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I think is wisdom I've earned and learned. And so it has created, after 20 years, the most beautiful, connected, loyal, transparent community. I marvel at my community every single day. Wow.
And you are doing a book signing here.
Yeah.
So tell us about the book you brought with you and, you know, what it's about.
Which is it, Anna? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Which one did I read?
Yeah, which one?
I brought my latest book. It's called Feed These People, and this was a departure for me. I normally write books for women, kind of in empowerment and development, even faith spaces. This was a cookbook. I love to cook. I always have. And a few years ago, my community online started a petition, an online petition to force me to write a cookbook.
Okay.
Because I've been writing about food online, just helter-skelter for years.
Yes.
And like throwing recipes into books, and they were like, you have to write us a cookbook. I'm like, you are not my boss. I'm like, you can't make me do this.
I love that your community can be so vocal with
They
you.
did. And so Feed These People came out in the fall. It was the most fun project. And it's funny, and it's absurd, and it's delightful. I loved it. I can't wait to write another one.
Yes. Oh my God, we're here for it. And what about For the Love?
Yeah.
That's your show.
That's my podcast, and we're steering into year 6, which is, I can't hardly believe it.
Oh my goodness.
But,
yeah, you're a veteran.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I was asking my podcast producer last week, we were going through some metrics, and I'm like, are people still listening to the podcast? And she's like, Jen, we're at 60 million downloads. I'm like, okay, they're listening. Okay, good. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. They're there.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to interview some of the most fascinating and interesting, smart, resilient people on earth. And I'll never get enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, sitting across from someone else's powerful story, I cannot get enough of it. I'm like, tell me more. And so that space continues to inspire me as a content creator or whatever it is that I am. And so I'm just thrilled. It's icing on the cake that it inspires my community too.
Yes. No, it absolutely does. And I think the fact that you can insert your own personal experiences and you lead with love.
Yeah,
and
for
we
sure.
feel that.
So thank you. It's a nice thing to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, I'm so excited that you're here and for this budding friendship. And I'm glad to have you on That Total Mom Sense at Mom 2.0.
Absolutely.
And for all the connections that you're going to help cultivate while you're here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really proud of you. I love what you're creating. This is a felt need for women, for moms, as they are more than one thing.
Yes.
They're not just the one thing. And so good for you. Like, keep going. Keep going. Absolutely.
Thanks
for having me.
Next up, we have Frenchi Ferenczi, a business strategist who is a longtime Mom 2.0 attendee. So, Frenchi, tell us what brings you to Mom 2.0.
So I never identified as a mompreneur, but then I saw that there was this opportunity to just connect with amazing other women who may identify as moms or mom adjacent, if you will.
Yes.
And I wanted to, 1, get away from my kids, and 2, get away from my kids and be around really awesome people that I have something in common with.
100%. I was joking with Jen Hatmaker earlier that this is our spring break.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we really need this. I feel like it's not every day we can fill our cup. Totally. And if these 3 days do that, we are leaving happier people.
I couldn't agree more. It's such a powerful thing. And I keep joking. I'm like, this is like Mom's Gone Wild.
Yeah. Except there's like yoga and everybody sharing their feelings.
Exactly. Yeah. Amazing.
It's awesome. And who are you most excited to see while you're here?
Oh man, I'm really excited to see Amy Schoenthal. My friend Sally Arias did an amazing talk this morning about strategy. I have an Italian husband who's a chef.
Ooh.
And so I'm very excited to see Tembi and Attica later.
Yes. Oh my
but
God.
Also like a little bit terrified because obviously like I watched from scratch.
Yes.
I watched a series and then everyone's like, you have to watch it. It's your story. And I was like, and then the end got there. I was like, I hope it's not my story.
Yeah, I know.
It's so beautiful. So yeah, those are some of the ones I'm really excited about. And I'm excited to spend some time by the pool.
Yes, 100%. I can't wait for it either.
Yeah.
I think they have such a compelling story, and the fact that we got to just travel to Italy as we watched someone's life story unfold was just phenomenal.
I used to work at an organization called The Wing, which was a pretty big startup in the startup
Yes.
world.
All moms know The Wing.
All moms know The Wing, especially New York moms. And,
Yes.
you know, working in startups and being part of a startup that went through such a journey, for lack of a better term, taught me so much about growing businesses. And one of the things that I really realized was that we overcomplicate and we create so much complexity in business growth, and it makes us a little crazy. But moms are already going crazy enough with everything else going on in their lives. And so as a business strategist, I'm just really, really focused on helping moms and you know, non-moms, but grow their businesses and find simplicity in sustainable success.
That's amazing. And what's one success story that you could share with us now?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I have a client named Holly. She's an architect. And when we started working together, she was like still working part-time at an architectural firm and also starting her own business, which sells, I guess, kind of stock plans, but really elevated, really beautiful, really design focused, sustainability focused. And when we originally mapped out her strategy, she was aiming to leave her full-time job within 12 months. She ended up leaving within 6 months because we just had a plan that she could manage as a side hustle, along with being a parent, that allowed her to make the money she needed to make and really take off. So that's one of my favorite stories, just because I think money is great. I think freedom is even greater.
Yes.
And so I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome. I love that you're empowering the women that you work with. And I'm excited to get to know more. But this is awesome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm so
Thanks
glad
so
to
much
be
for
here.
chatting with us today.
Of course.
And now we have Tosha Schore, the founder of Parenting Boys Peacefully. Hi, Tosha. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Yes. And so you came in saying that you had some friends that have been on That's Total Mom Sense. So do share. Who do we have in common?
So we have Suzanne from Jen Mindful.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah,
Suzanne Tucker. Yes.
Exactly. And I've got Amy Lang.
Oh, wow.
Birds and
I
Bees and
love
Kids.
it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the two that I saw. I was just scrolling through.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And you all are in a very similar line of work. Tell us about your brand. I love how literal the name is.
Yeah, my brand is Parenting Boys Peacefully, and the mission of my business is to create a more peaceful world, one sweet boy at a time.
Oh, that's amazing. And I think in the culture in which we're raising our kids, as much as we want our girls to be bold and strong, we also want our sons to be empathetic and compassionate. You know, I think it's a double-sided kind of coin here. You can't just focus on one and expect the other gender to know what to do.
Yeah, I think we say we want that, but we don't necessarily provide the environments for our boys to develop in that way.
Yes. And so tell us some of the myth busting and advice that you give your clients, because I'm sure so many of us are very unconsciously and unknowingly enabling behaviors that we don't want to see in adulthood.
Yeah, so I work mostly with parents of young boys who are struggling with hard behaviors. Mm-hmm. So big tantrums, big feelings, aggression, hitting, spitting, kicking, calling nasty names, like all the things.
Yeah.
And it's not as rare as one might think.
Right.
So for anybody who's listening who has a boy like that, know you're not alone.
Yes.
And so there's a lot that I want parents like this to know. First off, that you're not alone,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Not alone. And that you can absolutely use peaceful parenting strategies, so brain-based strategies that are connection-based rather than strategies that are control-based and focus on isolation or punishment, even though the behaviors seem bad and like we need to respond harshly, they actually move through more quickly, and we can guide our boys much, much better if we approach them with connection tools. Yeah.
Wow. Can we walk through a little scenario?
Sure.
So let's say you have a 6-year-old who, is just like physical and just, in a playful way is like punching, shoving their brother. How do you kind of walk them through, like, we don't do that without having them feel ashamed, but also, ensuring that they get it and they're not like just hitting and doing all that willy-nilly all the time?
Yeah, so I love that you say we don't do that.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest mistakes that I see parents make is that we talk way too much. We gotta zip it.
Interesting.
And we're giving information that our kids don't need. He knows that's not okay. Right?
Yeah,
like if
there's
it were
a moral
your
compass
kid,
in there. Yeah.
Right, there is a moral compass in there, and I think we misdiagnose the problem.
Cool.
Right? We think, they don't have the information, let me tell them. But if I sit back and ask the parent, well, do you think he thinks it's okay to like knock his brother upside the head? He goes, no, right? He knows it's not okay. So it's more that he doesn't have the ability to control the behaviors in the moment.
Okay.
And so we come at it from all directions. So we come at it, there's a lot of prep that happens. Part of that prep and a lot of that prep is doing what I call getting ourselves in good enough parenting shape. So we're not so triggered in the moment that we can't even implement any tools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So we got to work on our own triggers.
Sure.
Right? Because a lot of the time, it's not really about them. It's about us.
100%. It's how we react.
Exactly.
Instead of respond or whatever the...
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we also need to focus on connection, like regular connection time outside of sort of the hard moments.
Yes.
And really time when they get to lead and they get to be the leader and we're the follower.
Right.
And it's just the two of us, so it's one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And then in the heat of the moment, we got to get really good at holding loving limits. In that situation, you might come in playfully. You might bring a playful limit. You might say, oh, do you know what happens to little boys who go after their brother like that? They get their elbows licked. And then you go over
so
and
cute.
you start trying to lick his elbow. And what happens? He starts laughing. Yes. You lighten up. There's connection built and the behavior falls away. Over time, the behaviors diminish.
Oh my God. Brilliant. Mind blown. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on this Mom 2.0 live podcast series. This episode has been brought to you by Mom 2.0, which is a part of Everyday Health Group's Pregnancy and Parenting Division, which reaches millions of parents a month through its Baby Center and What to Expect brands, among other domestic and global platforms. A special thanks to Laura Mays, Carrie and John Pacini, Marla Trevino, and the entire team for making this happen. This series has been powered by Rode Microphones, with on-site production by Ryan White and Allison Marino. Post-production and editing by Noah Swiderski of Britain Media. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review That's Total Mom Sense wherever you listen. You can learn more on my website, thatstotalmomsense.com, and search for the Mom 2.0 landing page to watch episode videos. You can register for next year's summit at mom2.com. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Kanika Chadda Gupta, and write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. Thank you for being in my tribe. See you next time.